So, can everybody see the screen? Thumbs up or a nod or something? Okay, excellent. So everybody can see the screen here and that. So I call this Operation Hamvention for 2022, and Operation Hamvention, how that all came about. Many years ago, when we started to go, this was before the internet and before we had things like the ability of Zoom and everything. We had our radios, and my God, imagine talking on radios to communicate, right? Rather than your cell phones or your texting or Zoom or internet. So, and I was quite excited about it. I was in my 30s, and this was going to be one of the first times I was going to Dayton, early 30s, and that. So I thought, why don't we turn this into something like an operations thing with a group going? So we called it Operation Hamvention back there. And at that time, I was lucky enough to have a Commodore 64 and one of those dot matrix printers. And I printed off everybody a manual on what we should or shouldn't do at Dayton and how to do it. And basically, I ended up meeting with everybody and put it in a big envelope with a seal on it and a stamp saying, "For your eyes only, Operation Hamvention, should you decide to accept it." It was kind of like a Mission Impossible James Bond type of operation. So it was kind of a fun thing to do back then, and we had a great time. And any of the guys that have been to Hamvention know that we do it for a lot of fun and that way with it. So this presentation, I want to also thank Ken. I see Ken is with us this morning, and then Ken McElveen from Sudbury. Ken and I have been going to Dayton for many, many years together, and over the years, Ken has put some information together that has helped me put part of this presentation this morning. And of course, we've got some other senior people like Pat, HZQ on here, and of course, Luke has been there. Anybody else that's been to Dayton, certainly feel free to jump in. And of course, if anybody has any questions as we go through the procedure this morning, don't hesitate to ask. The symbol this year, every year Dayton, the Hamvention picks a theme. And this year it's the reunion. It's been 50 or 70 years since the Hamvention has been in operation, believe it or not. It started back in 1952. It was the Dayton Amateur Radio Association back there. And they said, geez, one of the fellows came to the group and said, wouldn't it be kind of interesting to have a recognition for some of our contesters, and maybe somebody's got some equipment that they want to share or sell or trade or something like that. And they kind of looked at him and said, well, I don't know if it would ever go or whatever. You know how you get the hums and haws with it. So anyway, needless to say, they organized it. It was in downtown Dayton at one of the centers or something. It was a very small selling out of the back of the trunks of vehicles, and then they had a dinner in the evening. It was only one day, and recognized some of the people that took on contests and that with it. So it seemed to work out not too bad. Anyway, since then, of course, it's become history, and now the Hamvention put on by the Dayton Amateur Radio Association is the largest flea market next to the Tokyo Ham Expo flea market, is the largest one in the world. It gathers approximately 30 to 35,000 amateurs across the world that attend this mega of operations with Hamvention. And if you haven't been there, if you have a bucket list, definitely this is one of the items you need to try and check off on your bucket list if you can. There is an issue with attending Dayton. it will ruin you for every other flea market uh, you plan to attend, because nothing can compare to it, and that with it. So the dates that we're looking at going as a group, it doesn't preclude you if you want to go and meet us down there or do something, but we're looking at Tuesday, May the 17th, leaving and returning on Monday, May the 23rd, which is Victoria Day, the holiday Monday, 2022. So with that, let's take a look, and reasons for Operation Hamvention. So why would we go to this? Why would we do it? These are some of my reasons. They're not everybody's reasons to go, but talking with a lot of people that go. The first thing is, well, at least I feel after 2 years of the pandemic, it's time to get away. I just, as some of you know, was in Toronto last week at a convention, and there were 1,000 delegates from across Ontario there. We were in the Royal York Hotel in their Canadian room, which is a large conference center, sitting literally 2 feet apart. It was there, but we were in round tables that were set up in the conference area. I would say 3/4 of the people had masks on, and there was a good quarter, so 250 to 300 people, give or take. And then, of course, if we were eating, everybody removed a mask. And that, so if there was going to be exposure, definitely I was in close contact with a lot of people, trying to keep my distance, keeping my mask on, but that doesn't necessarily protect me with a mask if somebody didn't have one. So having said that, if I can survive last week, and touch wood, I'm home now 4 days or 3.5 days, still feel good, don't have any symptoms or anything like that. So we shall wait and see. They usually say 5 to 7 days after exposure. So we shall see as the week progresses and what happens, but it's time to get away and have some fun. Finally, attend the mega of all Hamfests. I've had withdrawal symptoms the last 2 years personally, because I really enjoy it. It's my getaway. Some of you may enjoy going away on a fishing trip or a hunting trip or something that you do every year. I don't have that. I'm not a hunter. I fish a little bit here, but nothing major will I'll purposely go away someplace and do it. So this is my getaway, and time to go enjoy a different aspect of the hobby and that. So it's a great experience, as you'll find out as we go through the presentation. Another thing I need to do is I'm getting low on ham supplies. I usually try and stock up on everything, because people will call up and, Al, have you got a BNC to a female end connector, or if you got a PL 259 I could borrow or whatever. Unfortunately, I can't walk out the door here in Little Current. We used to have a source downtown in one of the department stores, but they closed up a long time ago. There is a source in Espanola, but you walk in there and you look at the clipboards and you go and buy a PL 259 connector and they want $895 for it. It's ridiculous. So I go there and buy a lot of connectors, electrical tape, coaxial cords, insulators, stuff that you would need to build antennas, do things, and it's fairly cheap down there. And bring a big bag that type of stuff home, and not only for my use, but somebody calls up and says, hey, I need this part or something, have you got it? Absolutely. And Judy kind of walks down to my shack. I think some of you have seen my shack before, but I have all those bins, or where are we? All those bins and drawers set up there, and they're all full of ham stuff, but they're getting low. So I need to replenish some of that stuff for sure. So anyway, that's one of the other reasons.
Okay, I'm going to tell them.
The other thing too is traveling safety in numbers. and that with it, it's always good to be able to go in case, well, first of all, if somebody ends up getting sick, there's other people that can assist, get you to a hospital, get you medical information, call back home to get whatever. The other thing is if vehicle breaks down, we've got other vehicles involved that can get you to a garage or a station and see about if you need to get a rental vehicle or whatever the case is. We have people that can help out. So it's like any other thing. If you've got a group that are going, there's always safety in numbers for sure. And we're less likely to be bothered if you're traveling alone at hotels or restaurants or something like that. If we all go in as a group and come out as a group, it seems to work out pretty good. And above all, I know Pat and Ken will tell you all this. And Ken, please jump in if you've got any comments on here. Above all, have fun and have a great time. It's not just the whole thing about going to the Hamvention. It's socializing as a group again and going away. And, you know, whether it's stopping for lunch at a restaurant or sitting back at the hotel after the day and sharing stories and some of the experiences or asking questions about some of the gear and what you're thinking on this. I'm thinking of buying this or this. Anybody have any ideas or experience or that with it? It's all about having fun and having a good time and everybody doing what you do. Like, even though I've put together this presentation with a bit of a thing, there's nothing that says you've got to follow this. Everybody is their own. If you want to go and do something on your own, then absolutely go ahead. There's no ruling what happens. If you want to be part of the group and do some of the things some of the group's doing, great. If not, you want to go off on your own, then that's what it's all about too.
If I could just interject for a second there.
Yes, please go ahead.
So the part of what at least I go for is there's an experience that's involved with going to Dayton, and it's kind of what I was describing there, and I'm sure Pat will agree with me. It's like if you've ever gone on a vacation, like to Disneyland or anywhere, wherever you go and you had an experience there, and you come back and that was great. Maybe we'll do that again sometime. It's that kind of experience. Now you're going with a bunch of friends, a bunch of really good guys who are working on similar interests that you are, so that makes it that much better, But the whole thing is really just a fun getaway. Really, it's like that. It's like going to a resort somewhere, but you're with your buddies, and the flea market, in my opinion, is basically secondary. I mean, it's a good reason to go. That's really why we're going, but the whole experience of going and spending time with the guys and just enjoying some great meals and a lot of good chat and stuff like that. That's really what it's all about. That's my driving force, at least, anyway.
And I'll just add, Ken did an amazing job. It was kind of a semi-last minute thought, and it's something that we can look at in the future. The second largest ham radio fest in North America is the Orlando Hamcation. This is called the Dayton Hamvention, like a convention, and then Orlando has the Hamcation. It's the second weekend in February, and just prior to the pandemic that broke out in March of 2020, a group of us went down to the Hamcation in Orlando. Through Ken's connections, he was able to rent a house there, a nice big 4-bedroom house with a pool and everything in Orlando, outside in the suburbs of Orlando, a beautiful home. And we flew down there, the 4 of us. There was Ken and Pat and my son Brian, who will also be going to Dayton with us this year, and myself, and we had a fabulous time. It wasn't just the Hamcation, because we went down for a week and we went out to different restaurants, we went shopping to different stores, we did all kinds of things. So thank you, Ken. That's absolutely one of the reasons for getting away and having fun. And of course, the last, yeah, go ahead.
Just real quick, and I'm sorry. The other
No,
thing
no, go
to
please.
understand is if there are things that you do want to do by yourself, and you ask around, you'll probably find that there's a half a dozen of the people that'll want to go with you. So don't ever think it's I got to go down there and fend for myself and all that kind of stuff. That's not it. There's usually a lot of interest in whatever it is you might want to do, or if you have an idea and don't know how to do it, maybe one of the guys has already done it and we can point you in the right direction, kind of thing. But very likely, whatever it is you want to do, you won't be alone, or unless you really want to be. That's certainly an
Yeah,
option. But
yeah,
and there's, like Dal says, no set times for anything, no set, you know, running around. Other than really the travel down and the travel back, which we all try to stay together. You're there with us, but the options are wide open.
yeah. Absolutely. Everybody, but nobody's dictating you got to do this or you got to go to eat at this time or whatever the case is. It's open for everyone. And of course,
Excuse
the
me.
last, yeah, go ahead, Claude.
Uh, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news,
Mhm.
but you have to remember you're traveling out of country, and the wise thing to do is to get the traveling insurance for sickness and health. I've been doing this now for about 20 years, and I've had two experiences with friends. And just recently, a month and a half ago, one of the friends that we don't travel together, but we're in Arizona, got a virus, and it was a virus that actually made him so sick that he had to spend 8 days in the hospital. He did have insurance, and it's $6,000 a day for each day that you're in the hospital, plus other medical expenses. So for them 7 days, the bill was $66,000. And it's just word of caution. You can get in a car accident. There's all sorts, because of the COVID, you can get sick. And if you're, and even if what happens, if they use ambulance, there's always an ambulance in a fire truck. The ambulance in the fire truck, just to bring you to a hospital, will be about $1,500 to $2,000. Okay. Plus they charge for gloves, they charge for tapes, they charge for any kind of medication that they have to do. So you can get insurance through the Snowbird Association. You don't have to be a member. You just log into the Snowbird Association, and they do provide traveling insurance on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. Just word of caution. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I would personally not travel without some kind of an insurance myself.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Claude, and stay tuned, because guess what? I cover all of that in the presentation. So
I wasn't sure if you were. I wasn't sure if you were going to, but it was just word of caution. I did just experience it. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And it's when somebody tells you these costs that it incurs, they are there. It's a reality.
It is, absolutely, and can get very expensive. So yeah, I'm going to cover all the pros, and I'm going to cover all the cons too, so people can make informed decisions with it. And of course, the last point here, oh yeah, we got to spend some money there. So the problem is, the question is, how much money should I bring to Dayton? How much money should I bring to the Hamfest? Doesn't matter. You bring $100, you need another 100. If you bring 10,000, you need another 10,000. You never can bring enough money. So you gotta level yourself and say, okay, whoa, enough is enough. Go ahead, Dennis.
Oh crap! I had the speakers on, and you went and mentioned that.
You got to move that shack away from the staircase there. So
I gotta put it behind that wall there, right there.
You better soundproof it. Yeah.
Colette says, "You do? I didn't know she was listening. She's upstairs."
There you go. So anyway, I thought we'd throw that in there with it.
That's funny.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so this is the tentative itinerary of the Operation Hamvention, and how we've done this in previous years. It seems to work well. We vary a little bit, but this is basically how it works out the best way, and that. So the first thing that we do, the dates for your calendars are we leave Tuesday, the 17th of May, and we return on Monday, May 23rd, which is the holiday Monday for anybody that works or needs an extra day in their vacation schedule. The reason why we take 6 days to go, when I was young and in my early 30s and started to go, I got up at like 3 in the morning on the Thursday morning and drove the 14 hours straight through to Dayton, getting in there at 8 o'clock at night. And then I'd get up at 5 the next morning, go to Dayton, walk the flea market for 2.5 days fully, and then jump in the car and drive another 13 to 14 hours home again, and then go to work the next morning. At 25, 30, 35 years of age, you can do that. As time went on and things got, we added a day to each end. And now I'm 62, and we have a lot of members that are a little older than that also go. And believe me, even after taking 6 days, you're going to come back and you're going to need to rest for a couple of days, because it is quite impacting and that. But we do it at a leisurely pace, and we're not rushing, and we take our time, and if we need to stop a million times, we do. So this is exactly why we do it in this particular fashion. So tentatively, what we've done in the past, and hopefully we'll do this again, we'll all meet at the Tim Hortons at the junction of 6 and 17. So the group from Manitoulin that'll be traveling together will get together somehow, arrange that. The group from Sudbury will do all those arrangements, etc. And we all meet, we use RMI, we get together, and we meet around 7 a.m. in the morning. We like to get an early start, so it may mean you leaving Sudbury at around 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. Same with Manitoulin, around 6:30 or whatever the case is. We stop, we have a coffee, a bite to eat, whatever, get everybody together, know who's going in what cars and changing anything. If you're driving to Espanola and you want to leave your vehicle for the week, we will make arrangements to park it at different locations. We've got a couple of ham radio operators that I've talked to that said yes, or I can make arrangements and we can park in the OPP detachment parking lot right at the junction there at 6 and 17. So we can make arrangements so your vehicle is safe and do that. Shortly thereafter, we head out westward on Highway 17 in a convoy fashion. The old, this is a convoy, you know, where we follow each other and assign a simplex frequency in each vehicle. Of course, that's to be determined depending on what radios people have. In previous years, we picked the old 146.52 FM simplex and worked that all the way down. There are benefits and there's negative things with that too. One is you start picking up other hams. I remember one year we went down and we were on 5.2 and started out. I think there were 4 or 5 vehicles in our group. And by the time I got to Dayton, there were 17 of us in a convoy, because people are listening and they'll say, hey, I'm at mile marker 2. I'll slow down. Can I catch up? Can I join your group? Or whatever the case is, right? Safety in numbers. And I felt like the Pied Piper leading all these people who we met, and that it's a phenomenal experience where you're going to meet strangers you never talk to, but because you're part of the amateur radio fraternity, it is amazing. The other thing is everybody and their brother is on 5.2, 5.5, 5.8 simplex. And we used to do that for a number of years and talk around the flea market. But not only you, with 30,000 hams vying for a few frequencies to get on there, people were walking over everyone and trying to contact somebody else. It was very difficult. So what we've done in the previous years is we've gone to digital, and that's worked beautifully. The digital is so quiet, and anybody that has got, I don't know, Pat or Ken or somebody, if you want to comment on using the handhelds on digital around the flea market, how much better it makes the experience, but it works really good. So we'll do that. Anyway, we can figure that all out as we get a little closer to the date. So what we do is we arrive up in Sault Ste. Marie, and if needed, we stop to obtain a green card. Now, what I mean about a green card, we're not going to work in the States or anything like that, but Canada Customs have a declaration card that you can get on the Canadian side of the border before you cross. And what it does is I do a list up every year of equipment that I'm going to take to Dayton with me. So it's usually the radios in the vehicles, it's my handhelds, it could be my laptop, it could be any other device that you want to bring. I'm sorry? Scanners, anything like that, yeah. So one year I took my mobile rig, which was an ICOM 4100. I had my ICOM IC51 handheld, a Uniden Home Patrol 2 scanner, a Dell Latitude laptop, a Motorola XPR 650 or 6550 handheld, a Zastone D900 DMR handheld, and a TUIT DMR digital handheld. And I put all the serial numbers at the end, as you can see. I put serial numbers and everything. I take this into customs and I say, this is the equipment. If you'd like to see it, I can bring it all in for you. The custom guy goes, no, that's good, thank you. He looks at the list. He will either stamp this page, put his signature on it with a custom stamp, or he will fill out a green card with those items listed on the green card, put their stamp on it. When you come back into Canadian Customs, and if something happens that they pull you over to secondary and they start pulling stuff out of the bag, have you got a receipt for this handheld? No, I brought that into the States with me. Well, why would you do that, right? They have no concept. Well, we talk to one another while we're walking around the convention and that with it. Well, how do I know you didn't buy it? Well, here's my stamp, or here's my green card. Oh, I see. Okay, you've done your due diligence. All right, excellent. Thank you very much. Away you go. All right. So it's something that we do. So we'll stop if you need to do a green card. And that, or declare stuff going over. And it can be anything. It can be your CPAP machine. It can be a camera. It can be whatever that you may be bringing with you to do that. So it just saves a little hassle, and it shows the customs officer that, you know what, you've done your due diligence. You're not trying to screw the system. You're not trying to seep something through here. And where you go. So we do that. So after we get the green cards, we then basically go through customs. Hopefully everybody will get through, and I'll talk about what we require in a minute or two. And then we usually wait on the other side of the border, down I-75 a little bit, to make sure everybody goes through, because we never know. Now, some of the times, people have said, Al, can you go first, or let me go first? Normally what I will do, if I'm the lead vehicle, when they scan my passport, if any of you filled out your passport, it usually asks for your occupation on there. And the occupation, I had my passport done in 2013, so it's still valid for another year till the end of 2023. So when they scan mine's going to come back as a provincial Ontario provincial police officer on the thing. So they will see that. The U.S. Customs officer will see that I'm a police officer. Now, that's not saying that gives me any more credibility than anybody else in here, but they're going to look at that and say, okay, where are you going? What are you doing, etc. We're going to the Dayton convention, the ham radio convention. Do not say flea market, because as soon as you mention flea market to the US Customs, they're going to think you're coming in to sell stuff. You're coming in to work into the US. And have you got any merchandise or any equipment? And if so, have you got the proper documentation? You don't want to get into that. You say, no, we're going to a convention to learn about ham radio, to visit other hams, do that. And, there are commercial dealers there, but I'm not selling or anything like that. Okay, fine. How long are you going to be away for? Have you got any equipment? Yes, I've got a couple of radios for personal use that I'll be bringing in. Usually. Oh, and by the way, the next 3 or 4 cars behind me are traveling with me. They're all friends of mine, and we're all traveling as a group together. So when I get through, you're pulled up, and they'll say, where are you going? You're going to Dayton. He may ask, or she may ask, are you traveling with that vehicle ahead of you? Very good. You're going for whatever. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice trip. Next car. Yeah, I'm traveling with it. Okay. Thank you. Go, 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 go. They don't want to be held up with it. And that's been the experience. So it helps a little bit that way with it. Now, the one year we had Rusty traveling with us. And unfortunately, Rusty had his vehicle, and I don't know if anybody remembers his vehicle that he used to have. It said, if you need help, call Rusty, with his phone number and Manitoulin Island computers posted on the side of it. So it looked like, and it was his business, but he used it as a personal vehicle too, right? So they pulled him over to secondary, and they x-rayed his whole car to see exactly what they happened, and we had to wait for him. So, which wasn't an issue or a problem, even though we said we're all traveling together. So I can't say, and randomly they will do checks. I don't know. I may get the one that's pulled over, or you may get pulled over. It's just a thing that can happen. But we make sure everybody gets through the border and we're all together. So I don't take off and I'm 20 miles down the highway by the time you get through the border. We all pull off and wait. Everybody gets in line, and then we head together. Remember, traveling safety in numbers.